Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now. For the past week or so, I have not really left this room, maybe but once or twice, and unfortunately, my dog Wicket has suffered because of it. He hasn't eaten in about a week or so, and I apologize for that, buddy. And he's fine. He needed to lose weight anyway, so I just figured, just kind of wean him off the food thing. And the reason why I've not been paying attention to my dog is because I've been playing a game. Probably the most addictive game I've ever played in my entire life. I'm not exaggerating. This game has sucked me in. I did a video about it, uploaded it about a week ago, maybe a little over a week ago. Empire Avenue now rules my entire life. I can't get enough of it. And I gotta tell you why. I'm meeting new people. I'm having fun. I'm learning how to play numbers. I'm able to do the same things that I'm doing anyway, publishing videos, tweeting, posting to Facebook, and I accrue dividends by doing all these things. And so people who've invested in me, my stock symbol, Pirillo, on Empire Avenue, they are getting the dividends, and they are getting a ton of dividends. And here's the thing. People, even if they are on Empire Avenue and they don't have their own YouTube channel, they accrue dividends by commenting in my YouTube channel or participating on Twitter or Facebook and beyond. So basically, Empire Avenue takes everything that you're doing anyway and places a value on it. And you can make investments in users. You can swap stocks. Not necessarily the stocks themselves, but the investments. You can swap investments. I think it's probably the clearer way of saying it. In between different users, especially if one is performing better than the other. The biggest challenge that anybody has had with Empire Avenue is, how do I win? And fortunately and unfortunately, everybody's a winner. It's to the degree at which you're able to excel in your strategy. So a couple of nights ago, I don't know if many of you were tuned in, probably not, to the live video feed. Oh, by the way, Tim, yeah, I know the chat on Empire Avenue, I turned it off, like within the first 2 minutes of even signing up. Turn off, not a chat fan on Empire Avenue. Not a fan. Either way, I was up all night. And in fact, I went to bed and I just could not get it out of my head. I was writing up some tips for Mashable on Empire Avenue because they signed on and they really wanted to give a good go. And I'm like, I've got to start them on the right path. They've really got to engage. And right now, at that point, I had sold off pretty much all of my shares because they didn't look like they were going anywhere. I reinvested in Mashable today. They are today, they're a hot stock. And I say today because that may not be the case, a day from now, 2 days from now, 3 days from now. So I was just trying to all of my strategies that I'd learned, the things that worked well, the things that didn't work well, and created what became quite one hell of a document. And so I have strategy and tips for anybody who's already an Empire Avenue player, who hasn't jumped in yet, who wants to jump in, whether you have a great community outside of YouTube or your blog or not. This is unlike anything I've ever seen. It's kind of like the iPad of websites. Like, before the iPad, everyone was like, what is this? It's not a laptop. It's not a netbook. It's an iPad. It was different. And after people got it, they realized, wow, the iPad's kind of nice. So, at least the people who like the iPad. Either way, if you head over to go.tagjag.com/empiretips, it outlines pretty much everything that I've learned in terms of my strategy and stumbling through it for, good 7 to 10 days. And in terms of my strategy, the way that I approach the game, because everyone approaches it differently, I want to be a good investment. I want to be a good investor. So I want to be both. And some people just want to be a good investor. That's fine. That's typically for those who aren't producing a lot of content. Some people want to be a good investment, and that's fine too, but you have to be able to drive the dividends in order to be a good investment. Specifically, dividends relative to the amount of people who are shareholders. So if you want an extended version of, Empire Avenue tips, mine, because there are a lot of them out there, my strategy, not everybody's, head over to go.tagjag.com/empire tips. Give it a good read. And if you happen to be a big content producer or like a brand, drop me a line. I'd love to help with your IPO. That's, I think, worked out quite well, at least in the past. Either way, you remember, I think, when I did the video, what was the stock price? I don't know if chat's frozen or anybody. I've got to wait for the timing to pick up. I think the stock price was around 60, if I'm not mistaken. And that was fine. I was still doing well. I was just getting going. It was lower than that? When I did the video? Gosh, apparently I was... Okay, well, I thought I was doing better. Okay. When I did the video, not when I signed up. Either way, I want to show you, through figuring out how to balance the math, this is what I have today. I have a stock price of 147.20 and climbing. It's up about 2 points a day. So the growth is slowing down. That's natural, and I'm fine with that. The net wealth that I've accrued is 3.3 million EVEs. And remember, EVEs, that little E there, that's the currency of Empire Avenue. And I can use these EVEs to basically make new investments in largely people who I don't know. So this number seems impressive. There are a few people who have a high stock price, but that's not everything. It isn't. It's this number, and this is my biggest tip for you and what I outline in my strategy for a good investment. It's this number relative to, if I scroll over here, let me see if I can find it. There we go. This number, I'm going to scroll out just a bit. Dividends, weekly average. So I'm driving 205,000 dividends a day right now. This number updates once a day, as does this, at a 1.37 share. That means for every time that you buy, however much you invest in a stock in me, you're going to get back that one plus 0.37. Now, that's, again, my understanding about how all this works. I've never played a stock market, any kind of stock market, including the stock market, even though the way that Empire Avenue works isn't exactly like the way the real stock market works. There are some different metrics going on. Either way, this, in my strategy, would still be a good investment. Even though, and I don't want to pull up someone else's account to show you what a bad investment is, there would be a case if this number right here, dips below 1.0, then this stock price at 147.20 doesn't matter. It's a bad investment. Okay, and the reason why, because if this is not growing and giving you one plus back for every one piece of stock that you buy, you could be taking your EVEs and investing them elsewhere. And what I've outlined in the document are tips and tricks on who to look for as a good investment and what to watch out for in terms of a bad investment. But I'm telling you right now, if or when this dips below a 1.0, sell the stock. You can keep a little bit of it, but that's fine. Sell the stock. I don't mind. And the reason why these numbers matter is because you want to generate more revenue. That's the object of the game, right? Is to do well. Well, at least the object of the game, the way I play it, is to do well. I want to accrue net wealth. And I want to also help my shareholders. So every video, every tweet, every comment, everything that I do, and everything that you do within my universe boosts this score. Okay? So, see how I'm trying to see if I can. Let's do this. Okay? Let's pretend, because I don't want to pull up someone's account and embarrass them if they're not a good investment, even though that has nothing to do with their person. Them as a human being, at that point in time, because the game changes every 5 minutes, they may not be a good investment, at least in terms of the way that I look to generate revenue quicker. Because the more revenue I generate, the more people I can invest in, and the better my portfolio becomes. So let's pretend for a second. Let's pretend my stock is at 47.20. Okay, if I look down here and saw my share at 0.37, I would not be a good investment. Okay, so it would be a good investment if my stock price minus the decimal was lower than the share price. Or I'm sorry, the share percentage. This is basically how all the shares are divvied up between the shareholders. And I have a lot of shareholders because I'm performing very, very well. So usually, if you can find a user who's got a pretty hot stock, it's on the climb, and their dividends, their ratios here, are minus the decimal, seemingly higher than the stock price, and I've outlined this in the document. Depending on how many shareholders they have, that may be a good investment. The fewer shareholders they have, the better investment they are, believe it or not, because that means you get more of the dividends that come in. I would rather invest in a user that has a stock price of maybe 30 versus a user that has a stock price of 90. If the user with 30 is returning me more EVEs faster. It's just the way the game is played. You buy and sell investments. You invest in stocks, not people. People are as much a part of this as anything. But your value and worth as a human being is completely disconnected from your value and worth as a potential investment or a potential investor. And I know there's been some sensitivity around that, specifically by some members of the community who are there to meet people, and that's fine. It's just that I have the opinion where I'm there to meet people too, and I've definitely made a lot of friends. It's just that I'm also looking for good investments because I don't want to create something and not put my all into it. So essentially, I've still been tweeting. We've been putting videos on YouTube, commenting, blogging, doing everything I've been doing anyway. It's just seeing this and saying, I can give something back to the community. A game that I have been absolutely addicted to, and I'll say this right now, and I think I don't know if I worded this in the document or the blog post, taking donations for it too, which by the way will turn into EVEs, so I'll reinvest the money donated from that blog post. That will be like an ebook. I've never in my entire life ever purchased virtual goods. Ever. I did here. I bought a castle. I bought a sports car too. And the reason why is because, I spent $100. How much would Portal 2 have cost me? How much would Gears of War have cost me? How much would any other game have cost me? I thought, okay, fine, I'll give it a shot. The reason why I bought the castle, here's a little pro tip, is because when you buy it, it's $100, real money. In 7 weeks' time, the investment pays for itself. You'll get an additional 25,000 EVEs to spend. And that's the key is, man, I don't want to own everybody on Empire Avenue. No, I'm going after good investments. And I'm going to teach you how to strategize, from my book, okay? Because everybody's got a different perspective. You got to find your own way. You got to find what works. I found something that's worked. The tips that I've shared have been absolutely amazing for people. You I invested in you at one point. I don't know if I'm investing in you now. That's the way it goes. But at some point, you'll float up again. I'm like, that's a good investment. That's a wise way to spend my money. How can I move these numbers around to maximize my return? This is like, I'm a power user, right? I'm always on the edge. I want to tweak. I'm overclocking Empire Avenue, right? And this is just the beginning in terms of, the information that I'm learning and the connections that I'm making. And, I'm just having fun. I've never been sucked in. Angry, I think your stock price is doing... Actually, okay, I'm going to do this in the live video here. Just so I've got your permission, I will look at your stock and tell you if I would or would not invest in you right now. Angry, if you want me to do that with you, I can. Let me just take a sip of my investment juice. So we'll go over here. And his stock ticker is Angry. All right. Angry, got his name. He's the Vice President of Games and Development. Oh, by the way, I'm the CEO of World Peace. Hey, someone's got to do it. Okay, so his stock price is at 39.34. He's up 2.3 points today. That's pretty good. That's growth. Let me look. Okay, he looks like a new user here. Steady climb, steady climb. Let me go up here. Okay, he's pretty engaged on Empire Avenue. Really engaged on Twitter. I'd say that's a really solid number. Not so much on Facebook. Not so much on LinkedIn. Not on Twitter. Very active on YouTube, okay? So this is the reason why you guys can really do well as my subscribers. Or if you love commenting and every gesture you make. I'm not saying like every one of my videos, but every time you leave a comment, every time you thumbs up, every time you make a gesture, it counts towards your score. You can become number one. And even though number one is relative, I mean, there's a lot of number ones. There are people who's number one of this, number one of that, number one of this, number one of that. Everybody can be a winner. You don't have to be a YouTube publisher to have a higher score than a YouTube publisher. You should have to be active. So again, take the things you're already doing and generate some friends and fun. All right, so here's the key. We've got 39.34 on a climb. That's good. I like seeing that. He's a new user. It has me a little wary. 39. Okay. So he's a 39 up there with a 0.32 share. Not terribly happy about that. If, again, this number minus the decimal point is lower than the stock price, generally I will not make that investment unless that the stock price is over 100. I'm sorry, the stock price is irrelevant unless the number here has a 1 in front of it. That's the only time I'm ever going to make that investment. Even if this number here with a 1 in front of it is lower than the stock price, like my stock would be. Because again, I'm getting 1 plus back for every 1 that I put into that share, into the shares. Not really generating a lot of dividends. That's fine, at least at this point in time as a new investment. But let me see how many shareholders Angry has. Because the more share, I gotta zoom out a bit. Yeah, see, the more shareholders he has, the worse off he's gonna be. I'm just being honest. The game is not to accrue a high number of shareholders if you do not have the dividends to support it. You're gonna have a very tough time growing accordingly if you cannot produce more dividends. I've seen it over and over again. This is my understanding of the game. I didn't read any manuals. I just jumped right in and did this. Either way, I apologize if I added all of those shareholders. And I'm not saying everybody who owns shares in Angry should dump them. But if they did, what would happen? You would love this. What would happen is... Hang on, I got to find where the hell I am on the screen. What would happen is the share, at least from my understanding, would actually increase because there are less shareholders to share that pie with. So I could be incorrect. The game might work differently. It's just that I found this to be a trend. He could very well be a long-term investment. If I know that he can turn dividends around quickly, I'd probably be interested in buying into him. In fact, I might, and here's why. He's got 3 blogs connected, and the quickest way to generate dividends on Empire Avenue is to have blogs, active blogs. Oh, you're looking for something to blog about? Why don't you embed one of my YouTube videos? Write about it. There's a blog post. It goes into dividends, which you may not care so much about, but your investors will. So with any luck, you guys will have fun. You'll join me there. Do not buy me if I'm a bad investment. It's not about that. I'm just telling you right now. Go.tagjag.com/Empire Tips for more information. And you already know where you can find me. And if you've been watching the live video feed, you know you can find me playing Empire Avenue.